So when you're working with a financial advisor and you're buying a mutual fund through them, sometimes you have to be aware of the kind of costs associated with that. It is important for you to do the research on the cost of the fund because the fund may have an extra load attached to it. And that load ends up being the payment for the financial advisor for recommending the fund. There are three main types of load associated, and the first kind is a front-end load, also called a Class A share, and that is charged when you invest in the fund. So for example, typically it's about 5% of the investment balance, and let's say you invest $1,000 into the fund, $50 will first be taken off, then $950 will actually be invested in the mutual fund itself. The second type is called a back-end load, also called a Class B share, and that load is taken off when you sell the mutual fund. And typically, the longer you hold on to the fund, the lower the cost can be. And the last type is a level load fund, also called a Class C share. And instead of paying an extra load when you buy or paying an extra load when you sell, there is an even fixed load that is attached to the expense ratio and it's charged to you every single year. Typically, it's about 1%. So you can quickly determine the type of fund that you have by looking at your investment statement and looking at the last letter of the mutual fund description. You can see in the image below that my client used to own Class C share in their IRAs and Class A share in their 529 accounts. You can also see the same mutual fund can have different fund structures, and that's very typical in the industry. Now, I would be the last person to tell you that financial advisors shouldn't get paid, but I do think that it carries a conflict of interest when it's a company paying the financial advisor and not you, the client, paying directly. So a commission-based financial advisor would be limited to the type of mutual funds that pays out a load to them, and thus I think it limits your option. I think a better choice is to work with a fee-only financial advisor where you pay directly for the financial advice, and therefore it reduces the conflict of interest, and they now have the incentive to shop around to look for the lowest cost fund and the ones most appropriate for your investment goals, your investment time frame, and your stomach for risk.